Hello everybody, my name is John Hardt and I'm the director of the Low Income Taxpayer Clinic at Maryland Volunteer Lawyers Service, which is to say that my job is to help people when they get into a legal dispute with the IRS or the Maryland Comptroller. Actually broader than you may think, so like for example, if somebody gets a bill from the IRS saying that they owe and they disagree that they owe, or they can't pay the way the IRS wants and they want to work out a deal, that's where I come in. But today, instead of talking about, scary stuff like that, we're just going to talk about common tax credits that you can use when you're filing your income taxes for the year. Whether that's you doing it yourself, or you're using a program like TurboTax, or you're just getting somebody else to do it for you, like a paid preparer. This is something you can talk about with them, just so you're better informed about the process. So for one, I'm just going to go and start with the easiest one, really, in my opinion, and that is the Maryland Senior Tax Credit. This is a tax credit for your Maryland taxes, not your federal, but we are talking about, Maryland state taxes here, which can be substantial sometimes. And this tax credit, if you qualify, it's really, really easy. I mean, when I talk about this, I sound like one of those internet ads where people are talking about this one secret trick that doctors hate. Well, when it comes to income taxes, that's basically what this is. So if you're over 65 at the end of the year when you file your taxes, you can claim this return. And if you're if you're over 65 and you make less than $100,000, so if you meet both those requirements, you can just claim this credit on the form called the Maryland Form 502CR, which if you've filed Maryland tax before, you've probably seen, maybe don't remember. The 502 is basically the income tax return main form. And the 502CR is just an additional seat where you put on all the credits. So you just claim this credit on your 502CR, and you pay $1,000 less in taxes. It's really that easy. I mean, they already know your income, because that's one of the main pieces of information on your return. You put down your birth date, and that's all they need to know that you're qualified. So it's super easy. If you're filing jointly, and your spouse is also over 65, they can also claim the credit. You get like $750 instead of $1,000, but you can still claim the credit. So that's just one that I can just talk about that in a video this short. It's that easy. So some of the more complicated credits, but ones that are also really, really important. First is the Earned Income Tax Credit. This one is it's pretty complicated to file, more so than other tax credits, I say. Well, I say that, but don't get intimidated. But it's still really important to know because it's the most important one, in my opinion. So the Earned Income Tax Credit is one of the largest tax credits that you can get on your income taxes. It's targeted to help working families, so part of your qualifications include how many children you have, your income, of course, and other dependents. You also need to have a Social Security number that is valid for work. But if you qualify for all of the requirements, it's a substantial credit, thousands of dollars. So it's something that really, if you're making less than I would say $60,000 a year, just check if you qualify for this, because it can save you a huge amount of money. And this is one of those credits that if the credit you get is larger than what you paid in taxes, which is possible with this because it can be a very large credit, you actually get the money back from the IRS. So you don't pay taxes, you would actually get money back. The government would be paying you. It's a refundable tax credit. So really, really, you got to check out if you qualify for this, the Earned Income Tax Credit. The best way to check if you're qualified is to check out the IRS website at www.irs.gov. They have a page on the EITC, but they also have something called an Interactive Tax Assistant, or the EITC Assistant specifically. And that is sort of just like an interactive questionnaire that you can go through, and it's sort of like you're talking to somebody. And they can give you a good answer as to what you're likely to qualify for the EITC. So in addition to the EITC, which is probably the one that if you're only going to check out one, you should check out that one. But there's also, really important, the child tax credit. Now, this is a federal only credit. EITC, it's federal, and Maryland also has an equivalent. With the child tax credit, it's just federal. But if you qualify for the EITC, you might also qualify for this one, because the child tax credit is based on qualifying children. So you can claim the child tax credit for each qualifying child who has a Social Security number that is valid for the year in question. To be qualified, they generally have to be less than 17. They have to be a close relative. Children are the most common example, but they could also be like your much younger brother or sister or stepbrother, a grandchild even. And they have to have generated no more than half of their own financial support. So generally that means you pay half their expenses or more. And they also have to live with you for more than half the year. So in conclusion, those are 3 tax credits that you should really, really check out. Senior tax credit is really simple. EITC and child tax credits are not as simple, but they're really important to check out to see if you qualify, because they are very substantial credits and they can save you thousands of dollars if you do qualify for them. So for those 2, you want to go to the IRS website at www.irs.gov, and you can look up all the information you want on these tax credits. If you have any questions on how to file your taxes, I would say contact the Cash Campaign, Baltimore Cash Campaign. Great free tax preparation service during tax season. And if you get a letter from the IRS and you're a little concerned, contact us at Maryland Volunteer Lawyer Service. That's www.mvlslaw.org. Or if you have a tax-specific question, you can call me at 443-451-4061. Thank you.